After my father passed away, it was just me and my mother. Although my mother encouraged me to have my own pursuits and interests in life, for me, because I was taking care of my mother, I was just more focused on her. But then after her passing, I realized that I have to find out who I am. It's like it's about time, and I kept hearing my like. It sounds, I don't know however you want to describe it, but I just had to say, like my mother was telling me, Dusya, I'm gone. It's now your time to focus on yourself. Find out who you are, what you want in your life. And I don't know, I just felt so much incredible strength from that.
Yeah. All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Meta Transitions. I am your host, Trisha K. Williams, and I'm here with Dusya L. Dusya is an intuitive life coach. Thank you for being with us, Dusya. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, sure thing. All right, let's get into the first question. What is your life transition story?
So, my transition story is kind of a like walking up a mountain kind of thing. I have to say it started 2014, literally after my mother's passing. I have to say that before that, like I was taking care of my parents, both of my parents, and after my father passed away, it was just me and my mother, and I was just focusing on like, although my mother encouraged me to have my own pursuits and interests in life, but for me, because I was taking care of my mother, I was just more focused on her as opposed like, okay, like even if I wanted a job, okay, I want a job, but how does it help her? As opposed to like,
Yes.
okay, what does it say to me? What does it like? Is it something that I want? And although I was in the medical field before, and which was part of my passions, and I just kept working in the medical field, but it was just not, there was just something missing for me. And although I realized that coaching and holistic and everything, that was part of me, but it was like, yeah, my family is there, but I don't have to be part of it. Like I didn't want to, like I knew about, but it was not like, no, I don't think I want to be a part of that. Like don't want to even talk about it. But
Mhm.
then in 2014, when my mother was very sick, I know something happened to me, and I realized, okay, I've been working with patients who had similar health issues like she had in that present moment, and I did not agree with how the patient was treated. And I decided, okay, whatever I was not, if I wasn't able to speak up for the other patient, I wanted to be able to do that for my mother.
Yes.
And I was able to successfully speak up for her. But still, I realized, okay, there's something in the medical field that just isn't sitting right with me.
Mhm.
And after like she was getting a little better, I was trying some holistic things on her, and it was helping her. And I realized like, wow, what just happened?
Yes.
And I didn't really talk to I did try to talk to doctors, but it was like something like I can't even explain it really. But then after her passing, I realized that I have to find out who I am. It's like it's
Yeah.
about time. And I kept hearing my like, it sounds, I don't know however you want to describe it, but I just had to say, like my mother was telling me, Dusya, I'm gone. It's now your time to focus on yourself. Find out who you are, what you want in your life. And I don't know, I just felt so much incredible strength from that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your
Yes.
story. And
Yeah.
I completely understand that, some of what you're sharing is a bit vulnerable and hard.
Yeah.
Is you're talking about the loss of both your
Yeah.
parents and then the transition that happened to you after
Yeah.
that. And I could see how that could be really difficult to talk about. So really appreciate you being here and
Sure.
sharing your story.
Yeah. And I just realized, okay, I have to find out who I am. I didn't really know where to start looking, what to do. And then I was allowed around a friend who was he was like a father to me. He wasn't married, didn't have kids, and he knew me and my mother. And I just decided, sure, I'll like, he wanted to be like a father to me. And I
Mhm.
decided, I said yes, because my father and I had a very complicated relationship. So I decided, okay, I want to know what it's like to have a quote unquote normal father, for lack of better wording. And so I spent time with him, and I met his friend who became my family as well. and I met his significant other who is also on the other side, to say it. And when I met her family, I immediately felt welcome. Like I immediately felt like what like they were into the holistic stuff as well, and I just like when they were talking to me, I felt like I was at home. I felt like this is where I belong, and I didn't even question it. I just thought this does not even feel weird to me. It just this is who I am. And so I started then um looking around. Like I thought, okay, I'm in Massachusetts, and but they are not in Massachusetts, and I thought, okay,
Mhm.
I can connect with them, but I can't really like talk to them a lot because they're in a different town. And I thought, how am I going to do this? Like, of course, they love me, they want me to visit them, but like logistic wise, it's just hard. So I thought I have to find something in my city where I could find people who are like mine, who are the same values that these people did. And then I found the Modern Mystery School, and I finally like I just saw an advertisement on Facebook, and I immediately knew this is what I need. This is where I should be. And after that, I started a meditation, and I just had so many like any question I had growing up that my parents couldn't answer or they didn't care to answer, I immediately found the answer. And then I was talking to my guide at that time. He's a meditation coach, and I didn't realize it, but he noticed the improvements that were happening to me. And he said, I don't know what's going on with you, but you have to be here. This is your place here. And
Yeah.
and I mean I believed it because I just finally felt like life just started making sense to me from that moment on. And I realized that I can still be in the medical field, but I have to learn everything I can in this school so I can combine those two. And there was this thought in my head I should do that, but there on the other hand I thought this is crazy. Why would I do that? Like who does that? But the more I felt, the more I went to that school, the more I learned. And after I became a healer, I thought again, why should I do this? Like this doesn't make sense. And then I was talking to some people who were receiving sessions later on, and they had medical issues, and I was listening to them. I thought, oh my gosh, I have medical background, so this does make sense. I can use my medical background and help them because I understand the Western medicine part, and I understand the holistic part.
Yeah.
And so, like, if they're frustrated with their medical professionals, I can say, okay, this is what they're talking about. However, I know that this is what's going to help you. And
Mhm.
so I decided to use those both. I use those both components for when I work with my clients, and the differences are indescribable. I loved it. I felt like I was in my element. It was just so beautiful. And then I realized I have to use my intuition as well because I always like I would ask them questions like I'm just something that I sensed from them, and they're like, "Yeah, you're right." Like and then when I talked to a friend of mine who was like a sister, she always said, "You know what? You keep saying you have suspicions, but you're spot on." So so I realized I should, and that's why intuitive life coach is my title because I'm a life coach. I guide my client, like I listen to them, I listen to what's going on in their lives, and whether it's a medical issue or just something that's going on in their family or career, I I it's like I'm listening to them and I'm hearing something that they're not realizing, and I'm saying, okay, am I hearing X, Y, and Z? And again, it's like, yes, exactly. And so I explain to them, okay, this is how it's affecting you, like whether it's in your relationships or in your job, this is affecting you, and probably it's affecting your health situation. And they don't even know, they don't understand there's a connection, but there's always a connection. Like everything is interconnected. I strongly believe in that.
Mhm.
And I just realized I have to use my intuition or gut feeling, if you will, to guide my clients, and that's what I do. And I love working with them, and I love the how should I put this? I love what happens to them afterward. Like if they have these aha experiences and their lives improve, and they realize what they need to do in their lives, and sometimes they ask me, they are confused about something. I would say, okay, what do you want?
Mhm.
And oftentimes, if someone will say to me, I don't really know what I want, and that resonates with me
Yeah.
because I was having moments where I thought I don't know what I want, although because everybody kept saying, oh, you should be a lawyer, you should be this, you should be that. And in my heart, I knew that I wanted to be something different, but it was like, well, everybody says I should be X, Y, and Z, so that's what I should be. But again, every time when I was going through that moment, I remembered what my mother would sometimes teach me, like, what do you want? What do you want? And every time I thought about that, I realized, okay, I am that person right now. They are experiencing what I went through. And so I just tell them, what does your heart tell you? Like, listen to your heart. What do you want? And every time I say that, they're like, I don't know. So like, okay, let's take it step by step. Close your eyes and hold your hand to your heart for at least, let's say, 5 minutes if you want, whatever works for you. And the experience is always so profound afterwards. And like we're both like in this moment, and they have so many experiences, and they know what they want afterward. They know what to do. And even if they're confused, I just tell them, just write it down. Write down everything that comes to your mind, and anything that from that list that really stands out to you, anything that makes you think, oh my gosh, this makes me really excited. That's what you should focus on.
Yes. No, I can see that you're really passionate about this. And I think that why the passion is coming through is because you've lived this. This is your experience, right? This is something that you know works because it worked for you, and you're wanting others to identify, that this is something that's going to work. And it's a very interesting, way, because the thing is, we all are on a journey, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like everybody's journey is a little different. And it sounds like for you, you journeyed in the medical field, over time. And then, you knew that you were still searching for whatever that thing is out there that, you didn't find yet, that sense of belonging, your people, that connected with the way that you thought about the world. And, it sounds like it took your parents passing away. It took you being introduced to other people to, I guess, connect you with sort of this idea that, you know what, I need to figure out who I am and who I, want to be. Right. And then you got connected to this community that just embraced you, it seemed, and, really aligned with your values and the way that you thought. And then you were able to birth this new way of practicing and helping others, where you're marrying, medical Western culture with, sort of a very Eastern, way of thinking, and marrying those two together and giving people this holistic, it seems, way of going about their, is it physical health and mental health, and trying to get a better understanding of that. Okay. No, it sounds great. It sounds great. And so it sounds like you're a life coach now. You're really helping other people, with, I guess, their transition and figuring out who they are and where they want to go in life. And I guess I'm wondering at this point, if you have any specific, I guess, pieces of your story that you can share that really highlighted, when this transformation, sort of occurred for you, when you were like, you know what, I think that my life is changing.
I would say what happened was, for me personally, like I'm going to say this, I had 2 toxic relationships beforehand. And I realized, like, I was following my own patterns. Like, I was watching the patterns that I had, and I realized that they were related to my upbringing and what I experienced. And those were 2 red flags. And just learning, like, there were so many moments, like whether it was a healing session with a client, learning from my meditation guide. There were, like, I noticed the changes when I started, when I, like, every time when there was something happening that resembled what I did in the past, and I said, okay, I'm done with this. No, this is not working. No. And then I decided, and then I would tell myself, okay, well, this is going to be hard. And I said, big baby steps are important. And I even tell my clients baby steps, like, even, and I even like, I shared a lot about my parents, about my family with friends, and there are some friends of mine who have parents or family members who are a bit toxic. And they say, well, your parents are dead. Well, you're lucky. Like, I mean, it's not that way to express it, but they say, well, your parents are dead, but mine are not. So what do you suggest? And I say, well, it's not. Well, I know that in my case, my parents had my parents passed away, which is why I like quote unquote grew up. But the thing is, whether your family is around you or not, when there is something, when you see something, when you meet a person or when you meet a group of people, and you feel suddenly like, I never felt like this before. This is like, and like whatever your friend circle is, or wherever you go, wherever you hang out with people, when you enter a room, or when you attend an event and you meet people with who you feel suddenly alive, you're thinking, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, I feel amazing. I never felt like this before.
Mhm.
Whether you have, as I said, whether you have a family around you or not, they can't really, your family can't really tell you, okay, I don't know what's going on with you, stop talking to these people. They can't do that, even if you're an adult and you still have issues. They can't tell you that. Like, you can hang out with the people who you want to. And when you feel happy, when you feel like they're doing something amazing, when you feel like you want to improve yourself, when you feel like happy and relaxed, those are the people to be around. And I have to say, I was living also with a toxic roommate even after my mother died, and I thought, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Like, I want to be around
Mhm.
these people, and I had this toxic roommate, and I decided, okay, I have no control over my roommate. My roommate has obviously no control over me, so I don't have to invite my new friends to me home, but I can go to events where my friends are, hang out there, spend time with them, and I can go home whenever, whatever time I want because I'm an adult. So just spending time with people, even if it's over the internet, even that helps. Being with these people and just feel like, okay, you have clarity. It's like having a mini vacation. So
Mhm.
whatever your situation is, whether you have people you live with, or you live alone, or whatever tough situation, you can improve your life by meeting people online with who you feel accelerated, with who you feel excited and happy, and that helps you. And the more you do that, like, if it's an event where you just spend time once a week or once a month, that will help. Because I hear a lot from my clients and from people saying, well, I mean, I met these people and why is nothing happening, why I'm not sensing anything. It's baby steps. Like, you finally, okay, today you were at this event or you met with me. Let's say you opened the door to, you said, you put in your yes, but still it takes a few days. Like, you are now embracing your experience, and now after a week you're going to be like, okay, this is what I want to improve in my life, or this is what I don't like. It takes time. It's baby steps, and I personally am a huge fan of baby steps, because
Yeah.
whatever you're doing during the week, if it's baby steps, at the end of the week you look back and you see, oh my gosh, I accomplished a lot. And
Mhm.
although which is baby steps. And and I keep telling people that, because they try, like, okay, I'm gonna do this today and tomorrow everything's gonna change. It doesn't really happen that
It
way.
doesn't work that
It
way,
doesn't
right?
really.
Yes.
It's like
You have to
you
take
just
it
have
step
to.
by step,
Yes,
like
exactly.
you're saying. Okay, so I
Exactly.
think what I'm hearing there for you is that you had
Mhm.
the opportunity to, take a step back.
Mhm.
And yes, I think what I'm hearing you say there is you're you're wanting people to recognize that the change, sometimes when you see change in your life, it's not necessarily something you can just sort of see right away. Sometimes it
Mhm.
takes time for that change to occur. And glimpses of the change that you saw in your life was when you recognized the people that you were choosing to hang out with, and when you were able to identify the toxic people, or
Mhm.
different toxic relationships. It sounds
Mhm.
like you were in,
Yeah.
and that was sort of indication for you, where you were able to recognize the people that you should be hanging out with and the people
Mhm.
that you probably shouldn't be around.
Yes.
It gave you the opportunity to recognize that you were changing, and
Yes.
becoming, this person, this new person
Mhm.
that you're wanting
Absolutely.
to be. Okay. Okay. What are some tips that you can give to, listeners out there that, are going through a life transition? Maybe they've lost parents, or they're
Mhm.
wanting to walk into this new path or find a sense of belonging.
Right.
What are some tips that you can give to them?
I would give them the same tip I gave to a client recently who was asking me what she should do. Like, she was tired of some friend that she had, and she just felt like, okay, they're betraying me, yada yada yada. And I didn't want to go into that, so I just said, listen, you want to improve your life. So I know, so just look around on Meetup or on Facebook, any social media you can find, and find a group that you resonate with. It can be something related to your hobby. If you are someone, if you want to try yoga, go for yoga, meditation, go for meditation, whatever you look at and you say, I want to try that. That's your yes. That's your heart saying, I want to try that. Just find something where where you look at it, where you look at something and say, I want to try this.
Mhm.
And if you're, and I have to say another thing, there are people, they ask me, okay, I'm not sure if I really want this. So there's another way. So there's even a really good way how to figure this out. So when you're looking at something, you're thinking, maybe, no.
Mhm.
If it says like, if it's something like, I'm trying to think about it, or I want to think about it, it's not the right match. But if you're looking at something, you say, oh my God, what's that? That's your answer.
So that curiosity and
Yes.
interest is what,
Mm-hmm.
I guess is an indication of what you should go after in the
Mm-hmm.
moment if it
Absolutely.
piques your interest. I see.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your tips and for, joining us today, Dusya. Really appreciate, what you've been able to share with us today. A last question that I'll probably ask is, for you to share a little bit about, where people can find you. So what's your contact information? If there are others out there who are trying to find their own life path and need an intuitive life coach, how can they connect with you?
So there are a few ways to connect with me. I am on Instagram as Dusya, and my last name, for anybody who wants to have it on repeat, Lyubovskaya. Also, Dusya's Miracle Reiki Healing. So I repeat, Dusya's Miracle Reiki Healing. And you can find that on Facebook as well, Instagram. Like, you just have to type in my name, and I keep getting told my name is so unique that you can easily find it. So just Dusya, and even Dusya Love works. Dusya Lo love, like in love, because love is a little interpretation of my name. So
Okay.
you can find me that way as well.
Nice, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, go check out Dushia's contact information and Instagram handle and Facebook to connect with her and to see, all the wonderful things that she is sharing in her business. So, Dushia, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to maybe connecting with you next time.
Thank you.